I'll put you in a straitjacket and shock your lobes. That's just crazy. It's crazy. I know.
We don't want no fuss and we don't want to hurt you, alright?
Yeah, we just want your money, that's all.
And you'll give it to us, won't you, without any fuss?
Alright, I need to be right back just a moment. Give me like 2 minutes or something. Alrighty. Apologies. What is this place? The room is lit, but it's still somehow dark. The atmosphere feels heavy. Nick, what are we doing in a place like this? How should I know? We're just a couple of bakers, but I don't think they brought us here to make bread. Nice. Is it me, or is that guard staring daggers at us right now? Mr. Wright? Maya? Ah, Espella. What exactly is going on? I'm sorry. I was the one who sent for you both. You sent for us? I'm being put on trial. Wait, what? What happened? I don't know. I just don't understand what's going on. I didn't do anything wrong. Couldn't possibly murder anyone. Murder? I beg you, Mr. Wright. Please, I need your help. Just one more time. Huh? You need my help? What could I possibly do? Spella, I'm just a baker. The only thing I know about law is how not to get on the wrong side of it. Wait, hold on a sec. Espella, what did you just say? You said you needed Nick's help just one more time. One more time. Not quite sure myself, but when the knights came and took me, a vision suddenly appeared in my mind. It was Mr. Wright. He was fighting for me, defending me. That brave blue figure, it was clear as day. I was fighting for you. Ah, Phoenix Wright must work for Larry H. Parker. He fights for people. I don't know if anyone else has seen those commercials. No way. That's impossible. I mean, it's like I already said. I'm just a baker. I have a hard enough time rolling dough, let alone defending someone in court. I thought the same thing too at first, but I don't think that's quite true. You and Maya, at some time, somewhere, you helped me. You fought for me as a defender. Defender? What's wrong, Nick? Wish I knew, Maya, but hearing Espella mention a defender, I can't help but feel something inside of me just burning at the mention of it. Accused, defender. It is time. Head forth, you two. Head forth? Where are we going exactly? To the courtroom, in which today's trial will be taking place in the Chamber of Fire. Chamber of Fire? Make haste. If you are but a moment late, a guilty verdict will be delivered immediately. What? No way. Mr. Wright. I'm truly sorry, Mr. Wright. I know this is all so sudden. It's a lost cause, isn't it? Well then, let's head inside, Espella. Huh? This overwhelming pressure, it feels so familiar somehow, almost like deja vu. Mr. Wright. Let's go, Maya. Maybe we'll get a better idea once the trial gets underway. Alright, let's do it, Nick. Not gonna say this inferno was well deserved, but you mug fire and you're gonna get burned. You don't mess with witches.
What is this heat? It's like an oven in here.
I will now pronounce the verdict. This court finds the accused guilty of being a witch.
No! I'm not a witch! Please, I beg you to reconsider! I'm not...
Witches are to be cast straight into the hellfire! What?
No!
So, this is the witch's court.
This is, rated E for everyone, right? So, how are you feeling, Nick? I'd forgotten what this felt like up until now. Huh? The butterflies in my stomach, and the tension so thick you could slice it with a knife. All of these feelings. These are all feelings that I'm definitely familiar with. Anyway. We're here to fight for Espella and get her out of this place. That's right.
The court is now in session for the trial of Espella Cantabella. Defender.
Yes, Your Honor?
Yours is a face I've not seen in any past trials. But no matter. Start by stating your name, Defender.
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Phoenix Wright, Ace Baker.
A baker?
I asked him to come, my lord. I want him to represent me. This court dictates that the accused is free to assign a defender of their choosing, my lord.
Very well. At any rate, the result of this trial shall not change. That aside, I've not yet seen hide nor hair of the Inquisitor assigned to this trial.
Inquisitor? Oh, right. I should have noticed earlier. No one's there.
Should the assigned Inquisitor fail to appear in court, I will have no choice but to dismiss all charges. He is an Inquisitor of high caliber, but if he does not come forward soon, this trial will end, and victory will then be declared in favor of this baker.
Hold it!
Objection.
Come on, have this guy be Miles Edgeworth, just to add some spice. That's not Miles Edgeworth.
Knights of the court, I have but one question for you both. Are you prepared to cross swords?
I, Inquisitor Zacharias Barnum, am indeed prepared to do battle, my lord.
Something amiss, Baker?
Sorry, Your Honor. I just didn't realize we could have swords here in the courtroom.
It is the way of the court knight. A knight must always ensure that he rides with a blade at his side. Now then, state your name, Sir Blue Knight.
Huh? My name's Phoenix Wright. I'm a baker. How many times will you make me say it?
A baker?
Nick, quit with the long face. You look miserable.
No need to waste your breath. This trial will be over before you can utter a single objection. for the security of all of Labyrinthia, my blade shall rend your defenses swiftly and without mercy.
That's it. Barnham. Put another one out of their misery. Well, it's pointless. Hand down the verdict already. Put that doughy defender on trial too, I say. Oh boy, what's with all this excitement? You'd hardly think this was a courtroom. Crowd doesn't seem very interested in law, that's for sure. It's like they're all just hoping for a guilty verdict. Inquisitor Barnham, you may begin your opening statement. As you wish, my lord. First, let us begin by recounting the events leading up to the murder. Is that acceptable, Sir Apprentice Baker? As you wish. The murder occurred this very evening. Yesterday, there was heavy rainfall in the area. Eventually, it gave way to sunshine, which came in just in time for today's parade. Although a few hours after the parade ended, the rain set in once more. Must have been when Espella and the others were at the Great Archive. It continued to rain until just before the incident, which took place on a small path leading to the market. The accused had been out doing some shopping at the market. She returned home on that very same path. And on that forest path, two rogues named Robs and Muggs are said to have accosted the accused. One could assume the accused simply acted in self-defense. I see, Robs and Muggs. Those two have appeared in court a number of times in the past. Two rogues, huh? So far, it may appear that the accused was more the victim. However, the situation soon changed. That's right, the accused, Espella Cantabella, knowingly and mercilessly murdered her two assailants. Cantabella. That girl, isn't she? I always knew she looked suspicious. That's so loud. Yikes. There's that weird excitement again. I believe we now fully grasp what happened. It is getting late already. Let us begin the trial. Inquisitor Barnham, you may now begin. As you wish, my lord. The Inquisitor will hear eyewitness testimony regarding the night of the murder. Eyewitness testimony, huh? Looks like this trial is finally getting underway. Can't back down now. I have to fight. I'm just a simple bread-making baker, living a simple bread-making life. The situation is more twisted than a pretzel, and I'm smack in the middle of it. But I have to do this to save Espella. Okay, let's see if I can untwist this testimony and put this thing to bed. Really? These are our witnesses, huh? Allow me to welcome you all. Now, would each of you please state your name and occupation?
Hold it!
Wait a minute. What's going on here? As I already explained, Sir Apprentice Baker, this is the eyewitness testimony. Yes, I understand that, but there are 4 witnesses. Indeed, this many people inside the courtroom could pose a health and safety issue. Your Honor, that's not quite what I meant. Witness testimonies are supposed to be done one by one, as in one witness at a time. What are you talking about, child? We'd be here all night if we did that. That's right, young man. We have witnessed the very hand of fate reach out to us this evening. Could we hurry this along, perhaps? These flowers won't sell themselves, much as my boss wishes they would. Path to knighthood is an arduous one, but I remain steadfast in my resolve as I travel down this long road. His name is Nidal. I shall not falter. I will be victorious. Who cares? Just question them all at once. We already know the girl in the cage did it. Let's get on with it. Yeah, finish this already. I'd like to go back home and get to bed. Witnesses, again, state your names and occupations. I'm known as Wordsmith. But what is a name? How doth one describe an occupation? Like the bubbling of a babbling brook. I flow gracefully around the rocks and debris that is life, nary a worry in my mind. Right, so I guess that means he's jobless. My name is Mary, and this darling kid is Snowy. Snow and I often travel to the edge of town to sell delicious, fresh milk. Milk like that doesn't happen overnight. I work my hands to the bone, squeezing each drop out, literally. Sounds pretty frightening. I'm Kira. I'm a flower seller. If you would all be so kind, feel free to purchase one of my beautiful flowers at any time during the trial. There's no way I'll sell them all by morning. Oh, the life of a flower girl is so hard. Yeesh, talk about a hard sell. My name is Nidal. I aim to join the town's Order of Knights. I study night and day, though I am still but a mere squire. Joining the Knights of the Inquisition is my life's ambition. And I, Nidal, will do whatever necessary to join. There's like a bend in his sword. It's kind of silly. So he's jobless too. Honorable witnesses, I ask that you show this court your best when delivering your testimonies. Now tell us what exactly you saw on this ill-fated eve. The delicious scent of mid-evening dinner permeated the air, and a soft light shone faintly in the distance. Muggs grabbed the girl by the arm. It looked like she almost pushed her to the ground. I heard a faint voice cry out. The next moment, those two villainous men burst into flames. There's not a trace of fire to be seen in the area. Without a doubt, magic must have been used. Magic. Your apprentice baker. You may now begin your interrogation. I have but one piece of advice. I suggest you pay it heed. Do not waste the court's time by grilling these witnesses over irrelevant nonsense, Sir Apprentice Baker. Are you alright, Nick? I sure love calling you an apprentice baker, huh? I'll be honest with you, Maya. I have no idea how I'm feeling right now, but I know it's all up to me, as her defender. Espella's fate is in my hands. I have to believe in her, and I need to start believing in myself. I can do this. I believe Espella is innocent, and I'll fight until the end to prove it. Yeah, that's the spirit. We can do this thing, Nick. Alrighty. He said don't waste the court's time, so I'm not going to press this guy. Let's grab the girl by the arm. It looked like he almost pushed her to the ground. Let's press this.
Hold it!
Muggs was one of the two rogues, is that correct? That's right. That man, he grabbed the girl's arm and pulled out a knife. Something wrong. Or was it Robs that grabbed the girl and held the knife? Huh? Oh dear. Now let's see. Muggs was the short one and Robs was the... No. I think it was the other way around. Oh, it doesn't really matter which was which now, does it? How am I supposed to keep track of those ruffians? Poor goat. No one was asking you to. For the record, Muggs was the short one. Heard a faint voice cry out. The next moment, those two villainous men burst into flames.
Hold it!
Exactly whose cry did you hear? Well, it was the accused. It was Espella's voice, no doubt about it. So, do you know Miss Cantabella? Yeah, everyone knows her. Her name is pretty familiar around here. Wonder why that is. After hearing her cry, I turned around and that's when I saw it. The two of them being swallowed up by the flames, you mean? I've never ever in my life witnessed another sight so dreadful as that. There was not a trace of fire to be seen in the area. Without a doubt, magic must have been used.
Hold it!
Isn't it a bit premature to assume it was magic? What an absurd statement. Say what? Think about it. The knaves were engulfed in flames. In the blink of an eye. The blink of an eye. There was not a single trace of any other fire source to be found in the area. Not a trace. Therefore, there is only one true explanation as to what caused that inferno. And what would that be? Let me guess, magic, right? There is no crime in simply not knowing, but refusing to accept the plain truth. There lies the true crime, Sir Apprentice Baker. It was quite the crime indeed, Defender. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I just have to find a contradiction in this testimony. No way, Espella can't be a witch. Looks like that's it for their testimonies. Nick, are you feeling okay? You've never cross-examined anyone before. Up until now, my life has been all about baking. Eating dough, rolling it, baking it, day after day, the same thing. This trial isn't any different from baking. These witnesses, they're all just kind of like fresh dough. Our job to roll out the contradictions and bake their testimony into something this court can stomach. If Espella is innocent, then there has to be a contradiction somewhere in these testimonies. And when I find it, I'm gonna crank up the heat. First things first, got to gather as much information as possible. Alright, let's press this guy.
Hold it!
What time would that be exactly? Dinner time. When else would the scent of dinner be in the air if not dinner time, do you see? Not so much. The sun had already set by that time. That should be adequate. Sun had already set. So, you clearly witnessed what happened tonight, is that correct? I have been dubbed a witness, thus I must clearly have witnessed something, do you see? In that case, how much light was there in the immediate area at the time? Enough to see the nose on my face, but not enough to see the trees ahead, do you see? No, that doesn't add up. The area was completely dark, then you couldn't possibly have witnessed anything. Do you see? Nevertheless, something caught my eye. It was a most ominous sight. Ominous is what that sight was. Okay, I get it. It was ominous.
Objection!
Or form, Sir Apprentice Baker. I hate to disappoint you, but there was, in fact, light in the area. Huh? Take a look at this. This is a drawing of the crime scene based on the witnesses' accounts as penned by the court illustrator. The court illustrator? I've never heard of that before. Look carefully. This shows what the scene looked like at the time of the murder. An illustration of the highest quality, as always. Now then, we have established that by the time the murder occurred, the sun had already set. And so naturally, the defendant was carrying a firelit lantern, as we can see. Lantern? Eureka! Indeed. Yes, that is what I was saying earlier. It was a lantern. A lantern, I say. Oh, please, you totally forgot. To be honest, I did not imagine it would be necessary to present this, but... My lord, here is the lantern in question. This is what was responsible for the light illuminating the area. Very well, the court accepts this into evidence. Speaking of which, Inquisitor Barnham, in this drawing, the accused seems to be holding a milk bucket of sorts. What became of this? That is a strange case indeed, my lord. That bucket seemingly disappeared from the murder scene. Milk bucket disappeared, you say? There has been talk of wolves living in the nearby forest. It is thought they often make off with the items they find on the ground. Great, wolves that steal your stuff. Remind me to never set foot in that forest. This is great, Nick. We've got new evidence now. Oh yeah, guess you're right. You know, Nick, you really don't look like just some normal run-of-the-mill baker. I'd say you're more like a somewhat articulate run-of-the-mill baker. I think you might even have a knack for being a defender. There's a clear contradiction somewhere in that testimony, and I'm going to find it. Alright. I need to look at... Oh, they're not going to present the thing? Okay. Covered in mud. So I don't get the picture. Totally detached from reality. Let's try this.
Objection!
What is the matter, defender? What is this feeling? I just felt the urge to shout out, right from the bottom of my lungs, while pointing my finger. Objection. I can't help but feel that's a word I've used quite a bit in the past. That's it. I remember now. I remember everything. The legal League of Attorneys exchange, a Spella's trial, and then that strange book. This feeling, I feel like I can take on the world. Witness. What's with the sudden pointing? I am soon to be a member of the Honorable Knights of the Inquisition. I accept your challenge. Have at you. You say that no fire was present at the scene of the crime, meaning the defendant must have used magic. Unfortunately for you, that is not the case. What do you mean, Sir Apprentice Baker? What I mean is that the defendant was in fact carrying a lantern containing fire. Those two rogues were actually burned by the flame that was inside the lantern. That is the only logical explanation. My, what a startling conclusion you've come to, Sir Apprentice Baker. What do you mean? The only logical explanation. Do you agree with this statement, honorable witnesses? It is presumptuous for a man that knows nothing to claim that he knows something about which he really knows nothing. Huh? Besides, how could one teeny tiny flame be strong enough to set them both ablaze like that? There were two of them. How could that flame engulf them so fast? Furthermore, if they did burn as you claim they did, do you mean to suggest they were soaked in oil or something? Oh. Well, Sir Blue Knight, it would seem you have bitten off more than you can chew. I definitely didn't see that coming. What say you, my lord? Do you have any thoughts on the proceedings thus far? Given the testimony as we've heard it, the court has come to its conclusion. It was a truly gruesome and merciless act. An act for which only one thing could be held responsible. A nefarious crime of magic.
Hold it!
Wait just a second. There's something you have forgotten to mention, Defender. Not exactly, Your Honor. It's just that, I mean, you just said magic. That can't be right, can it? What are you suggesting, Sir Apprentice Baker? Witches use magic, which in turn brings about disaster, such as the way of this world, is it not? Well, yeah, that may seem to be the case. But no way is that actually possible. Court finds Espella Cantabella, the accused, charged with being a witch. Espella a witch? A witch's existence in this world is a crime in itself. The ability to use and control magic is a criminal offense indeed. As such, any witch found practicing magic will be sentenced to death by fire. No, you're wrong. I'm not a witch. Sir Apprentice Baker, I do not envy your current predicament. Lord, hand down your guilty verdict against this witch immediately.
Objection!
But there's no evidence to prove that any magic was really used. Put a sock in it, Brad boy. We all heard her cast the spell. Huh? That's right. Snowy and I heard it. Isn't that right, Precious? We heard that incantation quite clearly. That frightening voice. There's no mistaking it. It was Espella's voice. Ah. These ears do not lie. I clearly heard an incantation most sinister. Ignaze, it went. Incantation. Ignaze? No good. I just can't wrap my head around this topsy-turvy, otherworldly court. Well then, it would seem the defense has no further objections. It appears so. Court finds the use of magic at the time of the murder to be an undeniable fact. Furthermore, the honorable witnesses have stated that they each heard an incantation being recited. Court finds no reason to delay its verdict any longer. Nick, we have to do something. I know, but what exactly can we say? Here in this world, our sense of logic is completely useless.
This court is ready to hand down its verdict for the case of Espella Cantabella.
Hold it.
Sub Layton?
Your Honor, I request that the court hold its verdict a moment longer.
What is the meaning of this intrusion?
I have something I believe will be of use to the defense. A weapon of sorts.
That's...
The Grand Grimoire. All of this world's magic is contained within its pages. Without it, this trial cannot reach a satisfactory conclusion.
The Grand Grimoire.
Ah, there's no spell called Ignace. We meet again, Mr. Wright. Well now, it seems things are already afoot here. Although the real contest begins now. Are you fully prepared? So, are you here to help us? Of course. The professor always helps people in trouble. It is the duty of every gentleman. Right, Professor? Professor? There is a saying that I find quite useful in situations such as this. There is a time for words and a time for action. Right. You have been working as a baker in this town up until now, have you not? I must say, I am a little mystified and have expected you to be more familiar with this world and its system of magic. Yeah, how can I put this? I guess that's not quite the full story. Is that so? Kind of had an epiphany just now. I remembered all sorts of things, like how I'm not actually a baker. And, well, how magic can't really exist. Then it would seem I was correct about you, Mr. Wright. You are not, in fact, a citizen of this town, is that correct? Right, at least it seems that way. However, for now, we have no option but to accept this world and its rules as a reality. Without first understanding those rules, I'm afraid you will not be able to save Miss Cantabella. But things like magic only exist in fairy tales and make-believe. I'm afraid, Mr. Wright, it would seem magic does in fact exist in this world. Such a truth cannot be denied. Indeed, that is why the Grand Grimoire is a weapon well suited for this witch trial. At the moment, you are tantamount to a knight without a sword. Feel more like an attorney without a chance, actually. Right then, Mr. Wright. I'll explain how the Grand Grimoire works. Have a look at the touchscreen. There you'll see Grand Grimoire button. Touching the Grand Grimoire button will open up the Grand Grimoire. Thank you. You'll be able to present spells from the Grand Grimoire in much the same way you would present evidence. This book will surely be a most important asset for us in this trial. Oh, that reminds me. I've gone ahead and bookmarked the spell Ignace for you. It's a circle of flame within 1 meter radius of the caster, requires an incantation and a scepter to cast. Ignace, that's the magic spell of all the witnesses said they heard, right? Take a look at that spell. All I have to do is touch the Grand Grimoire button, huh? The defender has been given more than enough time. It would seem this trial has reached its end. That understood, Sir Apprentice Baker. This case is quite straightforward, with very little room for doubt. The witness's testimony, coupled with the illustration of the time of the murder, makes it quite clear what must have occurred. This murder was the result of magic, and furthermore, the caster of said magic was none other than the accused. That, Sir Apprentice Baker, is the truth. Best you go back to baking, for I believe your days in the courtroom have crumbled. Everything okay, Mr. Wright? Yes. It would seem that photographs do not exist in this world. Photos don't exist? I guess that makes sense. Ye old time period and all. The sketch drawn by the court illustrator, therein lies your final chance, Mr. Wright. My final chance? I understand the witnesses have already finished their testimony. However, if you could perhaps find a clear contradiction within this illustration. There is another contradiction. In that case, there's still hope that I can turn this around. Mr. Wright, you have to hurry. Look, the judge looks ready to deliver his verdict any second now. This is it. This is my last chance. What should I do? contradiction. 1 second, Your Honor. The defense requests permission to have another look at the court illustration. I think there might be a contradiction in there.
Objection!
You're already out of time. All testimony and evidence given thus far has been proven to be accurate.
Objection!
I wouldn't be so sure, Inquisitor Barnham. There's just one thing you've overlooked, a piece of evidence within this book. The Grand Grimoire. Absurd. I overlooked something? You are the defender here. You should have examined the tome earlier. You're right, I should have. But unfortunately, I was nothing but a simple baker until just now. Interesting. You've certainly begun to show your true colors, Sir Blue Knight. Let us see what type of knight you truly are. Have at you. Defender will now show us this supposed contradiction. The court illustration and the Grand Grimoire. Somewhere, there's a contradiction between those two, and I've got to find it. This is my last chance. Defender used the magnifying glass to locate the point of relevance, then reveal to the court the location of this contradiction. Do I just press present? Like, I know about this. Okay, so I guess I just present this.
Got it!
Contradiction is right here. The hand of the accused? He seems to be holding a lantern. What is your point? According to this tome, using the spell Ignaze requires the use of the witch's scepter, as well as an incantation, isn't that right? Correct. For witches to use magic, they must be in possession of a witch's scepter, also known as a talia magica. If that's the case, then there's one thing that doesn't add up. Take another look at Miss Cantabella's hands. Tell me, do you see the witch's scepter in either of her hands? Gasp. There we go. Let's see you point that sword at me now. You did it, Mr. Wright. But wasn't that contradiction just a little too obvious? Maybe you're right, Luke. It would certainly appear that the good Inquisitor is taking this particular oversight rather too well. That is correct, Sir Apprentice Baker, but you should not underestimate me. This is perhaps your first time seeing this item, is it not? Right here is the very scepter you mentioned. One of the witnesses found it tossed in the shrubbery on the side of the path. Ah, yes, indeed. That was I. I located it. My feet found themselves ensnared in the blasted thing, and it sent me flying through the air. Somehow, I'm not surprised to hear you fell, Gramps. The scepter does seem to carry a most sinister air. Indeed, my lord. However, the scepter will only work while in the hands of a witch, with the incantation being said aloud. That's too bad. I wanted to try lighting some stuff on fire. Please don't look at me when you say that. You see, there are two magic gems set in the scepter. Magic gems. Looks like a red gem and a white gem. These gems each contain a particular magic spell. By simply looking at these magic gems, one can easily determine which magic spell can be used. Nick, quick, look at this page. Summons a circle of flame within a 1 meter radius of the caster. Fires the incantation and scepter to cast. I guess a circle of flame? Okay, thank you for telling me that. Is that the red magic gem? Indeed, the red gem you see here is the spell Ignaze. And if you look carefully, you should notice that the scepter also has one more spell that can be used. One more spell, that must be the white gem. Mr. Wright, I found it. Here's the spell for the white magic gem. Dimir Vanishing Spell causes anything the caster touches to vanish from sight. Simply chant Amir to make it reappear. Causes anything the caster touches to vanish from sight. So you managed to work it out in that crusty head of yours. It's just, it can't be. The reason the witch's scepter couldn't be seen is because the magic spell Dimir had made it disappear. That's right. In other words, the accused conjured a cowardly spell to camouflage her own use of magic. No way! Order. Inquisitor Barnham, please submit the scepter into evidence.
Objection!
Hold on, please. There are problems, Sir Baker. Okay, I understand this is a witch's scepter. However, whether or not the scepter was in Miss Cantabella's possession has not yet been proven. What are you talking about, Sir Prentice Baker? Isn't it obvious? I'm talking about fingerprints. Supposing Miss Cantabella did in fact handle this witch's scepter, and her fingerprints should still be on it. What's with this silence? You said fingerprints. Visitor Barnham, tell me, just what is this Baker blabbering about? I haven't the slightest clue, my lord. It is the Baker's first time in court, after all. Huh? Afraid it's no use, Mr. Wright. In this world, it would seem the concept of fingerprinting does not yet exist. What? Can't believe it. As I've said already, you best head back to the bakery, lest you continue to serve this court more of your half-baked ideas. Oof. They're about as half-baked as your terrible puns, Barnham. Forensic science does not exist here. Instead, this is a world in which witches and magic are accepted as fact. Truly fascinating. What the heck? There are just way too many things I don't know about this world. Mr. Wright, I believe you may be able to take these things you don't know and use them to your advantage. Huh? The Inquisition believes there is no room for debate on this matter. The accused clearly attempted to conceal her magic. Better luck next time, Sir Apprentice Baker. Mayhap your next loaf will not leave such a bitter taste in our mouths. Now then, my lord, I believe it's time to ask that you render your unwavering verdict.
Objection!
Pardon the interruption. May I have a word, Inquisitor Barnham? What's that? Who might you be? My name is Herschel Layton. I'm a friend of the accused. Inquisitor Barnham, please allow me to confirm that what you believed happened on the night of the crime. You claim the witch's scepter was made to disappear through the use of magic. Is that correct? Yeah, then how do they have the scepter in hand? I was going to present this if they allowed me to that one guy who said he tripped over it, because, I was invisible. Indeed, through the magic spell Dimir. If possible, would you mind providing proof of this particular claim? What? You claim the scepter was not seen. Indeed, that is one possibility. However, a wise man must always consider every possibility. What say you, Inquisitor Barnham? Can the Inquisition fulfill the request presented by the gentleman with the unusual hat? The Inquisition cannot honor this request for proof. you are asserting that the accused is not a witch, then the burden of proof lies at the feet of the defender. Come on, it's the prosecutor or the Inquisition's job to prove that a crime was committed. As I thought, indeed, it would appear the accepted method of thinking in this world differs greatly from our own. How regrettable, Sir Apprentice Baker, and you, Sir Dark Hat. Visitor Barnham, sir. Should you require it, I stand ready to lend my testimony. Would anyone care to purchase any pre-testimony flowers? I've got a lovely array of bewitching lilies. Snow and I will not be dismissed so easily. We came here to expose the identity of this witch. Isn't that right, precious? A witch's scepter, you say? Yes, yes, I know of such a scepter. Allow me to elucidate the matter. That's not a word you see every day. What do you think, Inquisitor Barnham? Your witnesses appear to have something to say on the subject. Very well. Most honorable witnesses, I grant your request to testify once more. Tell the court all you know regarding this Talia Magica. Well, we've somehow managed to keep the trial going. I owe you one, Sir Dark Hat. Please, Mr. Wright, Mr. Layton will suffice for the time being. I thought that was like his internal monologue. You're reading people's mind, Layton? When I saw her, the witch was carrying a large milk bucket in one hand and a lantern in the other. The girl had the lantern hanging from her wrist. Her hand was contorted in a strange way. Got a good look at her hand, and it looked for a second that she was gripping something. The witch was holding a scepter in her right hand. She did not drop it once. She did not drop it once before she was did not drop it once before she was apprehended. He's a wordsmith. He speaks weirdly, I guess. I see, the accused's hand was contorted in a strange way. I do believe this is quite an important piece of testimony. I saw it. I most certainly saw it. She was holding an invisible scepter. We saw it too. It was the girl up there, without a doubt. I as well. These old eyes don't see as well as they once did, but I witnessed the hazy, blurry form of the accused quite clearly. Don't tell the court you're blind. My eyesight is as sharp as the edge of my trusty blade. A toy sword, how fascinating. Although I wonder if he understands the implication of that analogy on his vision. Sir Baker, you may proceed with your interrogation. Mr. Layton's given me another chance. I can't let it go to waste. Cross-examination.
Hold it!
Let's press, everybody. The large lantern you mentioned is this one, correct? There's no mistaking it. That fiendishly fiendish form, with its case darker than the darkest of nights. That was the lantern. Just a normal lantern. What is this? It would seem the glass is shattered. And there seems to be a sizable amount of mud stuck to it. On closer inspection, it appears mud has stuck to the broken sections of glass. Most intriguing. So then, when exactly did the lantern get mud all over it? By the way, witness, you also saw a milk bucket, is that right? Indeed, I would bet my sword on it. And yet, that milk bucket mysteriously vanished from the scene of the crime. How many times must I say it, Sir Apprentice Baker? The problem is the black lantern. Girl had the lantern hanging from her wrist. Her hand was contorted in a strange way.
Hold it!
She had the lantern hanging from her wrist. Are you sure? Of course we're sure. If that wasn't it, then how else would the girl manage to hold her invisible scepter? Ma'am, please, just testify about what you actually saw. We just said what we saw, isn't that right, Snowy? Indeed, a handle as wide as this could be easily hung from the accused's small wrist. Yes, that's what we were telling you. Isn't that right, Mummy's little snowball? It's no good. We're all bent on assuming Espella was holding that scepter. It seems it may be best not to pursue this particular line of questioning any further. Well, that's just super. Got a good look at her hand, and it looked for certain that she was gripping something.
Hold it!
What exactly was the defendant gripping? It was... that's right. It was something cane-like. What was it called? A witch's scepter? Yes, it was definitely that.
Objection!
Whoa, whoa. Wait, Miss Kira. You didn't actually see it, did you? Witness? This cane-like object, was it perhaps roughly this size? Oh, why yes. It was exactly that size. It's no good. We're all bent on assuming Espella was holding that scepter. Not questioning any longer, it's just super. She was holding a scepter in her right hand. She did not drop it once she was apprehended. She did not drop it once before she was apprehended. This is probably where I gotta press.
Hold it!
Sing it again, Aladdin? Are you missing something here? You gotta dig deep, Epic Otter. Okay? Phoenix Wright and Layton are from London. Now they're in Labyrinthia. Aladdin sings a couple of songs. What song can be associated with Layton and Phoenix's predicament? He needs to sing it again. I'm sure. I guess that spoils it for the YouTube game that I'm doing. But you know, if you get it on YouTube, you know you get it on YouTube. I tried to be vague. As vague as I could, I guess. Let me get this straight. There was no way for you to see this invisible scepter, was there? Well, now that's common sense, boy. One cannot see what is not there to be seen. In that case, there was no way you could tell whether or not she might have dropped the scepter. Well, these old eyes of mine honed in on her hand like a hawk until they couldn't see straight. The young lady was most certainly holding an invisible scepter in her right hand, while at the same time also carrying the lantern. Or do you perhaps possess some piece of evidence to suggest that she dropped the scepter? There hasn't been any evidence so far to suggest Espella was holding the scepter. Evidence suggesting the scepter was dropped. Now that is an interesting idea. Huh? If Espella did not have the scepter in her hand, then it would have been impossible for her to have used any magic. Well, yeah, that's true. I don't suppose, might there be a piece of evidence that could prove this? Yes, the lantern. We've been over this. Something to prove that Espella was not holding the scepter at the time of the murder. In other words, evidence to show that even if Espella had been holding the scepter, she would not have dropped it. Is everything all right, Mr. Wright? The truth about what happened in that brief instant will likely decide Espella's fate. I have to do everything I can to find a contradiction in these testimonies. Guess I should take another look at the court record. Ah, you got it. You got it. You got it. See? Not too hard. It's not too hard. Let's present the lantern.
Objection! Objection!
There was a high probability that Miss Cantabella was not holding the scepter. But if, for the sake of argument, she had been holding it, she would undoubtedly have dropped it at the time of the incident. What do you mean? What I mean, Inquisitor Barnham, is that this lantern proves the defendant was not holding the scepter.
Objection!
What foolishness are you spouting, Sir Apprentice Baker? The lantern's handle was around the accused wrist.
Objection!
Meaning she could have held the scepter. Yeah, I'm afraid that's not the problem here, Inquisitor Barnham. The problem is with the broken glass and the mud plastered all over it. What? The rain had ended just as the murder was taking place. That would make the path fairly muddy, don't you agree? When the thieves grabbed Miss Cantabella by the arm, the lantern must have fallen into the mud. Lantern fell into the mud. Why, of course, that makes sense, doesn't it, my little snowy woey? Well, what do you say, Inquisitor Barnham? She was holding the scepter at that time. That would mean that when she dropped the lantern, the scepter would have fallen along with it. What's going on? Inquisitor Barnham seems speechless. That defender's managed to turn the thing around, even though he's just some baker. No way, pay the witch's accomplices no heed. They're just trying to trick you. What you got, Barnham? That, just what is this?
Hold it!
One moment, please. Everyone, please listen. Didn't we all just stand here and explain to the court what we clearly saw? It's a lantern. So what? What's so special about it? Explain to me so I can understand. So that you can understand. Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious just by looking at it. Mr. Wright? What is it, Mr. Layton? There was something about this witness. Miss Kira, was it? Tell me, Miss Kira. How good is your eyesight, exactly? Huh? As you just heard Mr. Wright explain, the answer to your query is quite obvious at a glance. Tell me, are you able to see the mud present on this lantern? Mud? What mud? What are you talking about? Your Honor, did you hear that just now? Yes indeed. What does it mean exactly? It means that Miss Kira's poor eyesight is the reason she cannot see the mud present on this lantern. In other words, the validity of Miss Kira's testimony is questionable at best. Your body. How's it going, Ace Baker? We cooking suckers right now. Order in the court. What is the meaning of this? What say you in your defense, witness? I highly recommend you give us nothing but the truth. I'm sorry, Inquisitor Barnham. It's true. I need to wear glasses all the time, in fact. Need to wear glasses? Aha, now that you mention it, I did notice something odd about you today. Oh, I thought you looked familiar. Gone is the mist that clouded my mind. In its place, clarity. Fair maiden, a pair of spectacles are as valuable as a shield to a knight. Make haste and procure another pair. Now then, Miss Kira, tell me, at the time of the incident, were you wearing your glasses? No, I was not wearing them. The truth is, I lost my glasses a couple of days ago. You lost them, so her glasses were missing during the time of the incident. Mr. Wright, might I recommend that you keep note of this fact? It could prove useful later. Got it. I don't know why that would be useful. What, he's getting his bread cooked? Hold on, Epic Otter. I'm doing the cooking around here. I'm bodying the suckers. Okay? Ain't nobody cooking meat. Am I to believe there is nothing left to prove on this matter? At the time of the murder, the accused did not have a witch's scepter in her possession. A lot of cooks in the kitchen, but only the baker is going to come out on top. The baker is going to rise, Epic Otter, to the top. You gotta get it right, you know. You gotta get it right. Wait just a moment. Snow and I have much more left to say. That's right. My trusty sword of justice shall cut through this witch's treacherous lies. I may have lost my glasses, but I haven't lost my will to testify. Eureka, I remember now. Old age has a way of sneaking up on me, and I'm sure you must understand. Yeah, I understand. I understand you're all completely ridiculous. It would seem we have not yet arrived at a clear-cut verdict. Witnesses, you may once again begin to testify to the court. Tell us about the scepter and how it was used in the detestable display of witchcraft that you all witnessed tonight. Hey, Manadrian. Congratulations on winning Crayson's raffle. Choosing Ring Fit Adventure. Probably a mistake, but time will tell on that. The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in her other hand. The accused is holding a milk bucket in the court illustration. Who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand? That milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it, so she could have easily held the scepter as well. I did not see this milk bucket. Everything felt like an illusion. Feel bad about your choice? I mean, if you don't think about the choice like deeply, then it seems like oh, you know, we'll just choose that one. But if you like, I guess you just have to delve deep into Ring Fit Adventure specifically. It's one of those scenarios where it's like, okay, if you choose Ring Fit Adventure, then I personally feel like there are two outcomes that happen. One, the streams that are normally meant to become playing video games and, you know, having a good time are now streams dedicated to exercising. Okay. Sure, there's a game behind it, but, you know, I don't know I've never played Ring Fit Adventure, so I don't know the quality of it or the fun of it or, you know, whatever. The other aspect of it is that the particular task of exercising is a much more exhausting thing to do than sitting down and just playing a video game. And so when you combine those two things, I see a couple of eventualities. Shorter streams from Crayson and probably less streams from Crayson, because now the JRPG tour is about exercising, which, you know, I mean, who wants to exercise for 4 hours, you know? So it's an interesting decision for him to add that one to the tour. I understand like the integrity of the tour and stuff like that, but I anticipate it's going to take a long time to beat that game. a long time. The scepter was in her other hand, you say? Indeed, such a proposal is feasible. Sir Baker. Yes, Your Honor. It is the strangest thing. The longer this trial goes on, the more you begin to resemble a legitimate defender. Huh? Well, no matter. Defender, you may begin your interrogation. Been thinking of choosing that one for a while because you think it would be fun seeing Crayson do it, but you also don't want to make him suffer. But it's not even sure he will have a cam on for it. You were worried about less streams. What you also didn't consider is that you recently got the ability to play it yourself, which you might be doing. So you'll be spoiling the story for yourself. The part about making him suffer, I don't think he's going to suffer. I think it's just going to become one of those situations where it's going to be playing the game like a job. And when he already has a job, he's already mentioned that there are plenty of times when he doesn't feel like streaming after working because, it's exhausting or, crazy stuff happened or he's still working or something like that. And so to get the motivation to have a day like that of work and then start up the stream and be like, I'm going to play Ring Fit Adventure and exercise, like that. I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. The girl was not holding the scepter in the same hand as the lantern, which means it must have been in the other hand.
Hold it!
But did you actually see that with your own eyes? Alas, magic's vile embrace hid the scepter from my sight, so I did not see it per se. However, though my years of nightly training have learned to see through such cunning trickery. Is that so? For example, this morning I found myself unable to locate the whereabouts of my trusty blade. Its location was a mystery. So I tried my hardest to think and remember where I could have kept it last. And before long, behold, it transpired I was carrying my trusty blade in its scabbard all along. Life is riddled with such trickery. Would you say life is riddled with trickery, Nick? Only if we're talking about my life, Maya. Accused as holding a milk bucket in the court illustration, who's to say she wasn't also holding the scepter in that hand?
Hold it!
Court illustration. That's right. Judging by this sketch alone, it does look possible for her to have held the scepter. However, if you actually try holding that thing, you'll notice how thick it is. No way she could have been holding it.
Objection!
It is nothing more than mere speculation. You cannot say for certain that she was unable to hold it. I say speculation, I say it's a fact. There's just no way a Spella would have been able to hold that thing. As expected, this testimony is filled with nothing but assumptions and conjecture. Mr. Layton. You know, Mr. Wright, there does not appear to be any usable evidence present in the court illustration. Yeah, I agree. It does look that way. Milk bucket ended up disappearing from the scene. Could that actually be an important piece of evidence in itself? You suggested to him to do 2 games in parallel for this one. Do 1/2 hour or so of Ring Fit, then the rest of the other stream. Yeah, Mr. JRPG mentioned the same. Not the best at thinking things through on the spot. Like I said, I think it's fair to not think about this. The only reason I was able to think about this is because I stream and I own Ring Fit Adventure. I've just not played it. But the thought of like putting myself in Crayson's shoes, I see these scenarios playing out for myself. I've couple months ago, I had to change my schedule for a week, and I tried streaming in the afternoon/nighttime, and like after those days of work, it was just like so exhausting, and you know, like I didn't want to stream after those days of work. You know, I just wanted to chill, and I just feel like it's not easy to think that far ahead when, you know, it's not something that easily comes to mind when you think of that game, other than, you know, it is an exercise game. The milk bucket is lighter than it looks. Even Snowy could carry it. She could have easily held the scepter as well.
Hold it!
Just 1 second, Miss Mary. What is it now? Snowy and I don't have all night, you know? Come on, then out with it. Just have one question regarding your testimony. How exactly did you know that the bucket Miss Cantabella was carrying was light enough for Snowy to carry? Well, see, the girl always uses the same bucket whenever she comes to buy milk from us. Naturally, I would have seen that bucket countless times before. You've seen it countless times before. That doesn't answer my question. You specifically said that bucket is lighter than it looks. Miss Mary, at some point tonight, you must have held that bucket yourself. Now then, please enlighten us as to exactly when you got your hands on that bucket. It's true. By that time, Robs and mugs had already been burnt to ash. And then, I noticed the milk in the bucket that girl had been holding in her hand. Milk? Then, when those two went up in blaze, Snowy and I made a dash for the bucket. As the girl stood there looking confused, we took the milk from her and made sure it was okay. Unbelievable. Witness, you... Well, it was just so wasteful, the thought of all that disgusting ash falling into the precious milk. I felt I just had to protect the milk, so I took the bucket back to the farm with me. Madam, do you mean to tell the court that you took evidence from a crime scene back home with you? That explains why we were unable to locate the milk bucket at the scene. Oh my, you're scaring poor Snowy. Here, I brought the bucket with me anyway. See? I didn't even tamper with the milk. What the heck? I'm sure you didn't. Court shall accept this milk bucket as evidence. Okay. Looks like that's one more piece of evidence for us. Now, will the gentleman with the impressive beard proceed with his testimony? I did not see this milk bucket. Everything felt like an illusion.
Hold it!
You didn't see the bucket. Indeed, naturally, there was no way of me noticing the witch before the crime occurred. My mind was placid as the most placid of placid lakes. But like the early bird on its morning hunt for the elusive worm, my senses remained vigilant. You do realize the other witnesses have all testified to having seen Miss Cantabella carrying that bucket, though. And when you have journeyed as far as I have through life, you find all is but an illusion. That is, except for Lord Storyteller, of course. There's a movie called Lake Placid, and I believe it involves a gargantuan alligator/crocodile. And it's a scary movie. I have not seen it because it's a scary movie. That's it for the testimony. Still, something is bound to be there. Can't believe Mary took the bucket home with her. Miss Mary must be one of those thieving forest wolves we've been hearing about. Let us hope she doesn't eat like a wolf as well, Luke, for her snowy sake. Got this new piece of evidence, but the question is, how can I use it? You know, looking at this milk bucket now, it does look sort of different from the sketch, don't you think? Might be a good idea to get a nice good look at the actual milk bucket. Yeah, I already know. Alright, I'm gonna present it here and hope for the best. Can I save during all of this? I can't. I'm just gonna save, you know. Do a little bit of cheating. Alright, I'm gonna present the milk bucket to you.
Objection!
All of your testimonies have come to the same conclusion. The scepter was not in her right hand with the lantern, therefore it must have been in her other hand that was holding the bucket. However, that's not it, not by a long shot. What do you mean? Contrary to what one of the witnesses stated, the milk bucket was in fact at the crime scene. And you also notice something about this bucket. Take another look at the court illustration. Something about the bucket seems a bit odd, wouldn't you say?
Objection!
This illustration was based on eyewitness accounts, so a small discrepancy or two is conceivable.
Objection!
Actually, Inquisitor Barnham, it's highly likely that this illustration is much less accurate than you think. In fact, there is a blatant contradiction present in this illustration. Admittedly, it does at first look possible that Miss Cantabella was holding the scepter and the bucket at the same time. However, if you look at the real milk bucket, the possibility goes up in smoke. Here, let's have a look at the real deal. Notice the handle? That cannot be. Oh, but it is. This particular milk bucket has two pieces of wood on either side of the handle. If you were to try and hold both the scepter and this bucket, well, let's just say that'd be a challenge. To put it simply, there's no way anyone could hold both the bucket and the scepter at once. What? That must mean clearly you have the wrong bucket. We never lie when it comes to milk. That is the very bucket I took. It's too late. Sneeze is gone. Looks like the witnesses are as surprised about this as Barnham. The defendant couldn't have been able to hold the bucket and the scepter at once. Also, we have already established that she was not holding a scepter in her right hand. Therefore, the defendant, Miss Espella Cantabella, was not holding a witch's scepter at any point during the incident. Order, I said order. Just what is the meaning of this? In all my days as judge of this court, I have never heard such an argument. These are but a paltry set of words, and yet they ring with such remarkable strength. Your Honor, what you just heard was logic. Oh, you suck a fool. Logic, you say? What is with these two? They just silenced Inquisitor Barnham with mere words. Such foolishness. This must be some type of witchcraft. Wait, do you think? Could they be witches? It would seem that the concept of logic does not exist in this world. Right, then let's take this chance to knock their case down a peg or two. I'm worried if we keep this up, we'll be joining Espella in one-way trip to the flames.
Objection!
Most intriguing. A knight allows his sword to speak for him during battle. You have spoken with a sword of words. So be it. I too shall wield such a blade. What do you mean? Sir Blue Knight? There appears to be a hole in this logic of yours. A hole? According to the earlier testimony, it was believed the accused had the lantern hanging from her wrist by the handle. However, she supposedly dropped it, hence it being covered in mud. That's right. While that may be true, it does not necessarily mean the accused was therefore unable to use magic. It is merely a question of when she dropped the witch's scepter. What do you mean, Inquisitor Barnham? It is very simple, my lord. The accused, while first holding the lantern and the witch's scepter, cast her magic. Then, she dropped both the lantern and the scepter. Ah. The witch's scepter was dropped after the spell was cast. Of course. Yes, that must be it. What say you, Sir Blue Knight? There's no mud on the scepter. That is but a taste of the knightly knowledge of the Inquisition. Wow, Sir Barnham cut through that baker's witchery like a hot knife through butter. Exemplary. I expected nothing less from the hand of Barnham. Oh, to be able to shake that powerful hand someday. That Inquisitor isn't quite what he first appeared. Yeah, sure seems that way. Just a moment ago, it seemed like he'd never even heard of logical debate. Now he's suddenly using it against us. This guy's no joke, that's for sure. Now then, most honorable witnesses, I ask that you lend us your aid once more. I request that you all testify to the court once more. Tell us which occurred first, the dropping of the lantern or the casting of the spell. Witnesses, you may begin your testimonies. Tell this court in your own words about the sequence of events which transpired tonight. Maybe if more people suggested the parallel game as exception, you might consider it. Do another raffle or community chosen game. He did say he'll probably do some Donkey Kong or Elden Ring alongside it. You're trying to justify it by, if it ended up on the list anyway, he wouldn't get any younger, so now might be the best time anyway. Who knows, maybe exercising will invigorate him in the long run. Who knows? I mean, he hasn't played it yet. It could be that this empowers him and he just like starts streaming every day at this time because he wants to exercise and he just enjoys it so much. You never know. No, we'll have to find out. Of course, the lantern fell to the ground after the incantation of the Ignays. Sploosh. Monsieur as snowy is white. I made certain to keep my eyes peeled on that milk bucket after all. Besides, how can you be sure the lantern fell just because it has a little mud on it? These eyes do not lie. I saw the lantern in the accused hand when the incantation was uttered. You get the name now? Mary has a little lamb? I didn't actually get that. Or it's not spoiled by now. Yeah, that milk is gone. Figures, their testimonies are all over the place now. These 4 testimonies, they are most interesting. The witnesses all saw the same thing, and yet, people's memories are evidently quite fickle. They can never be a truly reliable source. Well then, Professor, with enough poking and prodding, I bet we can really cause their testimonies to crumble. Of course, we need to exploit their fickle memories to turn this thing around. We've got this, Nick. We'll press them so hard they won't even remember what they had for breakfast. Bread. Can't even remember what I had for breakfast. Now, Sir Baker, you may begin your interrogation. Alright.
Hold it!
The lantern fell after the incantation. Are you positive about that? I say I am positively positive that I am positive. I heard her voice and then sploosh. That sploosh. Was that the sound of the lantern hitting the ground? Indeed, but of course, do you see? But if you look at the lantern, you'll notice that the glass is shattered. You specifically said you heard a sploosh. Shouldn't you have heard the sound of glass shattering when it hit the ground? Sound of glass shattering? No, I'm afraid I failed to catch your drift. I was present in an area a bit farther away from the crime scene, you see. I have no recollection of hearing such a sound. No recollection. Precisely so. I'll have you know, I can easily hear a dog barking across town. Do not underestimate my hearing. I wasn't. Relax, Grandpa. There is nothing of interest in this testimony. Will the witness with a goat please proceed with her testimony? Oh, right. You mean us. You startled us, didn't he, Snowy? I'm sure Snowy White, I made certain to keep my eyes peeled on that milk bucket after all. Oh, wait. Hold on. Hold on a second.
Hold it!
But earlier, you stated that Miss Cantabella had the lantern hanging from her wrist. Well, not quite. We didn't say for certain. We only believed it was on her wrist. Believed? Yes, precisely. You know how you sniff milk when you're not quite sure if it's gone bad? And then your nose is assaulted by that foul odor that you weren't expecting. Well, it's a bit like that. Heed my words, madam. Do not make a habit of stealing for your own safety. We said we're sorry, please. It was all Snowy's fault. Oh, brother. Anyway, we can confidently say that we saw both the milk bucket, right, Precious? And as for the lantern falling, we don't know much about that, do we now, Snookums? Besides, how can you be sure the lantern fell just because it has a little mud on it?
Hold it!
What do you mean? Well, maybe the mud was already on the lantern before any of this happened. Did you ever think of that? Before any of this happened. Like, maybe it's been there since last week. It did rain last week too, after all. And if that's the case, then there really isn't any point arguing about whether or not she dropped the lantern, right? Indeed, what say you, Defender? Say, take a closer look at the lantern. You'll notice there's mud on the glass. Mud on the glass. The lantern wouldn't be very useful with all that mud blocking out the light. Miss Kira? I'd say your little theory regarding this lantern is muddy at best. I could point at witnesses till the cows come home. That wouldn't turn this testimony into anything I can use. I've got to find a lead somewhere. His eyes do not lie. I saw the lantern in the accused's hand when the incantation was uttered.
Hold it!
This is important. Are you sure you really saw that lantern? You are but a petty baker, are you not? It is not your place to be telling me what is important. There is but one thing of importance, ridding this town of its witches as quickly as possible.
Objection!
Hardly. I'd say this is far more important. What? We're trying to find out the truth here. How absurd. That girl's a witch, I say, a witch. I would stake my entrance into the Knights of the Inquisition on it. Listen well, whelp. Yes, Sir Barnham. Many young men within the ranks of the knighthood share your level of passion. However, you let your ambition completely blind you, the same way that a muddy lantern leaves one blind and helpless in the dark. This guy. Yes, indeed. I would say he is quite the tough motivator. What do you think, Nick? Did you notice anything fishy? Yeah, possibly. I think there may be something I can use. Really, wow. I didn't hear anything special. There was definitely something out of place about that one witness's testimony. It was something I haven't noticed from any of the other witnesses so far. It appears you may have found something, Mr. Wright. A 4-witness cross-examination. This is something I've never done before. But then, maybe there's another way I should be tackling this. I believe it is worth trusting that intuition, Mr. Wright. Okay, got it. Alright, let's try pressing that old man one more time. Okay, obviously I noticed the, chat bubble or whatever that appeared with Home Chick Slice, but I have no idea what to do with that.
Hold it!
Alright, you positive about that? I say I'm positive, I'm positive. Pollution sound hitting the ground. Indeed, but of course, do you see? Oh, the sploosh, so it had to have been the bucket.
Hold it!
There it is, right there. I knew I heard something strange. Huh? But old Greatbeard didn't say anything weird. Why, it's not the old guy that said something weird. It's the person next to him. Next to him? Ah, look there, Professor. The goat lady. She looks really deep in thought. It would seem she has noticed something odd in this elderly gentleman's testimony. That's right. These cross-examinations have 4 witnesses. Hey Nick, it looks like we're not the only ones paying attention to these testimonies. You're right, which means if they're all listening to each other's testimonies... Correct, Mr. Wright. Each witness is fully aware of themselves and their own actions when in the middle of their own testimonies. However, it is while listening to the testimonies of others that the witnesses may sometimes reveal the most valuable information. You see, it's habitual. They can't tell they're doing it, but I can. And I'm going to use it to turn the tide back in our favor. In fact, I do believe I may have spotted our first opening in which to test this new technique. Mr. Wright, could I draw your attention to the touchscreen? Touchscreen? Sliding the magnifying glass during a witness testimony will allow you to shift your focus across to another witness. Oh my gosh. We're introducing new mechanics now? Right, so the important thing here isn't the witness that's in the mid-testimony. It's the other 3 witnesses listening. Just a matter of catching them off guard and questioning them. What are you waiting for, Nick? Let's give it a shot. How about we try questioning the goat lady next to the old graybeard? Okay, all I have to do is slide the magnifying glass over to that witness. Like I'm dragging it. Whoa.
Hang on!
Hang on! Excuse me, Miss Mary. Oh? Do you mean us? But Snow and I have nothing else left to say. Knew it, I caught her completely by surprise. Mr. Wordsmith just gave his testimony. He told us all about the sound he heard when the lantern fell to the ground. Mr. Wordsmith didn't seem too sure. But I wonder if you might happen to have something to say about this. Huh? Well, that's... Is that all right, Sir Barnham? May we answer the question? Do what you will, madam. There is no need for formalities. Huh? Well, we'll try to explain, won't we, Snowy? The truth is, we did hear something. That is to say, we heard the sound of the lantern's glass shattering. We're sure of it. It was frighteningly loud. It quite startled us, didn't it, Snowy dear? I looked in the direction of the sound, but I couldn't see anything, let alone the girl or the two thieves. It was a tad dark, after all. When the glass shattered, the flame inside must have gone out. Hence, she could not see them. That seems to be the gist of it. Then, as I peered into the darkness, I heard it. You heard it? What did you hear exactly? You know, that. I heard the incantation for the spell Ignace. What did you just say? Now, hold it right there, witness. Yes, my lord. The glass shattered when the lantern fell. Then, after that, you heard the incantation for the spell Ignace. Do you swear to this court that this is, without a doubt, correct? Yes, maybe, I think. How about my testimony? What of my oratorical observation? That blasted spell Ignace occurred first. Then the lantern plummeted to the ground. I heard no such thing. There was no sound of shattering glass. Absurd, simply absurd. So the lantern fell and the glass shattered. That does not change the very fact that this girl is a witch.
Objection!
I hate to disappoint you, but that's not quite the case. In fact, this testimony changes things a lot. Wouldn't you agree, Inquisitor Barnham? What is the meaning of this? Let's go over what we know so far. In order for a witch to use any magic, they must be holding a witch's scepter. And yet, none of the four witnesses saw the defendant holding a scepter of any kind. That's because the scepter was made to disappear with the spell Demir, correct? At the time of the crime, the two victims grabbed Miss Cantabella's arm, causing her to drop the lantern on the ground, onto the ground. If, at the time, she was in fact holding an invisible scepter, then the scepter must have fallen when she dropped the lantern. Now, let's say hypothetically that Miss Cantabella really is a witch. In order to use any magic, she would had to recite the spell before dropping the scepter. However, as our witness, Miss Mary, has just stated in her testimony, she heard the incantation for Ignace after hearing the lantern's glass shatter. You do all understand what that means, don't you? It means that Miss Cantabella, the supposed witch you've locked up, could not possibly have cast any magic. Therefore, the defendant, Espella Cantabella, is clearly in no way, shape, or form a witch. Such frivolity, or frivolity, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to say that. Do you realize what you're insinuating? Do you really think she is not a witch? Such nonsense. Did any of you even listen to my testimony? We did, but you're wrong. There was no glass shattering. Are you calling me a liar, Missy? You couldn't even see the mud on the lantern, when it was plain as day. What ridiculous claims, all of you. Oh, hush. Take your little toy sword and go back to playing pretend, Sir Knight. Witnesses, this is a court of law, not a playground. I must remind you the importance of these proceedings. Witches and their magic threaten our fair town of Labyrinthia. Your words here today could decide the fate of every single citizen within our walls. Do you understand? As such, I expect each of you to take your role seriously and testify honestly about what you saw. In all my days as judge of this court, I've never seen such behavior. Behavior that leaves a cloud of doubt over the credibility of each of your testimonies. Indeed, my lord, quite a miserable set of witnesses, this lot. I see. It would appear this trial has come to a sudden halt. Huh? So that must mean... Quite right. It means you have won this trial, Mr. Wright. We've won. I can hardly believe the situation we have found ourselves in. I did not anticipate this trial ending with such a strange turn of events. But due to these witnesses' dubious credibility, I can see no reason to continue. What say you, Inquisitor Barnham? As you wish, my lord. What is going on? They're actually going to let this witch run free through the town? Curses. If it wasn't for that witch and her friends.
Hold it! Wait a blooming second. This trial ain't even close to being over.
Who the sucker-foo sucker are you? Some guy.
Not before I take the stand to testify!
Order! Order! Who is this buffoon?
Behold! Who am I, you ask? Who am I? Why? I'm the man that's gonna single-handedly save this trial. I'm the fifth witness!
Say what?
What?
Even Barnum didn't see this one coming.
Just as I thought, this trial was going down the drain before I got here. Okay, you lot, assemble. We need a strategy meeting ASAP. I say, who are you? Thank goodness you showed up. You can't give up now, everyone. It has come down to this. To arms, everyone. We shall do battle against that baker and that hat seller. Can't believe this. What the heck is going on? Truly fascinating. It seems a new witness has taken the stand. What more, he appears to be quite the formidable witness. Oh, I guess. This trial is still far from over. To be continued. Such wordplay sorcery. How do you know the spell incantation? They say that they heard the word Ignaze. Is what they have claimed. Chapter 2. If I close this... no signal. Alright. This is where I'm going to be calling it quits for today. We're going into round 2 of this here trial tomorrow. And we're gonna battle a new drunken witness, which means that we're gonna find a use for those glasses. I gotta keep an eye out for when that can come into play. Let me see if anybody's streaming. As a heads up, I did drop a new YouTube video today. Here. And it is on the hobby channel. And it is the encounter report for Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. which features Crayson BGG02 and Ghost VTS. So, you know, if you want to check that out, you know, that'll be pretty cool. You know, just go ahead and check that video out. Let me know some feedback and all that good stuff. Anyways, I'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific, to continue with some more Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. I wonder why this is versus. I guess they're going to go against each other at the end of this game or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, I'm out. Peace.